Now, one thing you should know is that when you buy a ticket for this event, that money is going to a very good cause.
Now, Randy just mentioned that proceeds will help protect endangered chimpanzees and gorillas. And you probably know that you can see chimpanzees and gorillas in their habitat here at the Detroit Zoo.
Yeah, that's right. And now that is where April Morton is this morning, over at the Great Apes of Harambe habitat. April, good morning.
Good morning, Tati and Kim. Yes, this brand new refurbished exhibit puts you right next to these amazing animals. Through that glass, you feel like you're right next to them. And they do a lot of tricks and have fun, and it's a lot of fun. We also got a chance to go behind the scenes to see what this habitat is all about, as well as the care that these apes receive in the habitat. And we got to engage with some of these great apes. Check it out. While visiting the Great Apes of Harambe exhibit at the Detroit Zoo, you'll see the lives of apes playing out right before your eyes. And thanks to a brand new enclosure, guests can get even closer to these fascinating animals.
Right where we're standing, we actually improved this area for the guests and put this full-size glass, so now you can walk all the way up and you can get a good view of the chimps all the way over towards the public area, and you can just see a lot farther than when we used to stand a little bit further back.
I remember that kind of being like a little bit up further, but now it's like almost like you're right there with them, but still far enough for your comfort level.
I definitely think that people like it a lot more. They're able to look both ways. They can see the chimps coming over around the corner, which it was a lot harder to see the chimpanzees from all of the different sections. And we put this glass in several of the viewing areas around this habitat. This habitat is several acres and they can use their space as much as they want. So before it was difficult to try and see where they are. You could be over here because of this glass and see they're over there on the far side and go over there and have the same kind of up-close experience and walk right up to the glass.
They also have brand new climbing structures, which helps with their enrichment.
We had a long planning process, thinking about all of the different elements to add to it, the ropes, the hammocks you see, and some of the hammocks kind of double as a shade cover for the hot days.
This also helps to increase visitor visibility, and people can see these cuties like 2-year-olds high in all of their personalities, like this guy clapping to get our attention. Do you want more food? Are you ready for more lunch? And do you see the baby down there?
And the grass is a little tall for Ty, but he's going to do some somersaults.
They are so adorable. So does the clap mean anything?
He sees me. You
know,
he can see through this glass. He knows who I am, so he's hoping that there's some more produce.
Speaking of lunch, the 12 chimps here goes through about 24 pounds of fresh produce every day. The entire habitat is all about the apes' enrichment.
We want to encourage natural behaviors for them, so using all of the 5 senses, exploration, foraging through the grasses, a lot of the things that you would see them do in the wild, we want to encourage that here.
And guys, that's what they are doing here at the Detroit Zoo. But beyond the zoo walls here, there are some great initiatives to protect these great apes. So joining me now are Mike Murray, the Vice President of Life Sciences at the Detroit Zoology Society, and David Dimitri. He is the Director of Conservation at the Detroit Zoological Society. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Good morning.
So when it comes to conservation outside of what's being done here at the zoo, how are you all helping protect the apes across the globe?
So the Detroit Zoological Society, we are really proud to be partners with organizations in the field who are working to protect great apes and their habitats in Africa. One example is our work with the Gorilla Rehabilitation and Conservation Education Center, or otherwise known as GRACE. So GRACE's mission is all about caring for and providing the best facilities for rescued gorillas in the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as working with local communities to ensure the survival of those gorillas in the wild. In exciting news, there was a first of its kind historic event recently where Grace was able to successfully reintroduce 4 individual gorillas back into the wild who were rescued from the illegal wildlife trade. So this took about 10 years of rehabilitation work and 3 years of really intensive research to prepare these animals for this release, but they were able to be successfully brought back to their homes in Africa. And this is really important work because there's only about 6,800 individuals left in the wild. And so it's really, I think, a great example of the potential for this type of collaborative conservation work that the DZS is involved with. For us also, specifically at the DZS, we've been able to send staff over to the Congo with Grace to provide assistance with veterinary health assessments, as well as to train local veterinarians. And then finally, we also work with another organization, the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, who is dedicated to the conservation, protection, and ultimately studying these gorillas and their habitats in Africa.
Awesome. So, David, what are some things that you see that are impacting the lives of these apes across the world?
So, yeah, great apes, I think, are facing multiple threats out in the wild, and probably most notable is habitat loss and fragmentation from humans for things like development, for agriculture, mining purposes, as well as timber production. They're also at threat from hunting and poaching for the illegal wildlife trade. And I think finally, climate change is something that these populations of great apes and their habitats are experiencing. And I think what's really important is we don't necessarily understand how climate change is going to affect these already vulnerable species. So what's really exciting about our work is by partnering with organizations like the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, who are conducting research to understand those climate change effects, we're contributing to meaningful conservation for these animals. And that's what our work's all about for conservation, is we partner with communities and organizations around the world to tackle conservation challenges.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Mike, when it comes to Sunset at the Zoo, which is an amazing event, how is the money raised there going to be used as part of your efforts here?
We are so excited for Sunset at the Zoo. All of the money raised at that event goes to two really important causes. It goes to helping us care for the chimpanzees and gorillas that call Detroit Zoo home. We're home to 5 gorillas and 12 chimpanzees. And it also goes towards our conservation efforts that David was just talking about. Last year alone, we contributed over $1 million to conservation between supporting our partners and also staff time and participation in some of these conservation initiatives.
So what can you say about the chimps and gorillas here that may surprise people? We see they're playful.
These are remarkable animals that I will spend hours watching them. I think it's easy to see how social they are. They live in these really social groups that are really interactive, but they're also individuals, and that is their behavior, but also each gorilla and chimpanzee has their own unique set of fingerprints, and gorillas also have their own unique nose print, which I think is just fascinating. So they're really remarkable on an individual level, but also their social groups.
Thank you so much, Mike and David. This is really interesting. So fingerprints, nose prints, I didn't know that. That is really interesting. So we're out here, learning. This is also educational, guys, right?
This
It really is
so educational.